Good afternoon. I'm Dan Kopfer, Chairman of the Code Compliance Board, and I call this meeting to order. The NSB Code Compliance Board of February 19, 2026. The procedures of this hearing are to provide due process to every respondent and the city in accordance with Florida State Statute 162.073, which states, formal rules of evidence shall not apply, but fundamental due process shall be observed and shall govern the proceeding. Hearsay is admissible, but only to support other competent, substantial evidence. Other evidence must be presented. Are there any questions? Any decision made today can be appealed by sending notice of appeal to the Circuit Court within 30 days of the execution of the orders per Florida State Statute 162.11. Can we have roll call, please?
Kathleen Brown.
Here.
Clifford Warren.
Here.
Al Shemansky.
Yep.
Dan Kopfer.
Here.
Keith McWilliams.
Here.
Ruth Harris.
Here.
Aaron Denny's.
Here.
Does any board member have any ex parte communications to disclose? For the record, there are none. And has each member had a chance to look over the board minutes of January 15, 2026? And if so, if I can have a motion?
So move. Second.
Okay. And then next, can we have the swearing in of the city staff, respondents, and any witnesses that may testify? Please stand.
Just backing up a second. Everybody's voting yes on approving the minutes. You had a motion and a second, so we'll vote on that. Right? Approving the minutes?
You're correct.
Yeah, I think we just went a little fast there, that's all.
Can we have a?
Yes.
a-
Kathleen Brown.
Aye.
Clifford Warren.
Aye.
Al Shemansky.
Aye.
Dan Kopfer.
Aye.
Keith McWilliams.
Aye.
Ruth Harris.
Yes.
Aaron Denny's.
Aye.
Okay. Now we can move to the swearing in.
Good. Please stand and raise your right hand. In the matter to which you're about to give testimony, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? The witnesses have been sworn in.
First case, please.
The first case is CCB 0465-2025, 809 Maryland Avenue.
Good evening. On November 20th, 2025, the board found James and Elise Batillo Family Revocable Trust and/or entity in violation of Section 26171, permit required, and also ordered the case to be reviewed by the Code Compliance Board again on February 19th, 2026. The board's order was mailed certified mail to the property owner and was signed for and accepted on November 26, 2025, according to the USPS website, and was posted on the property on November 26, 2025. On February 19, 2026, a follow-up inspection showed the permit is still in review. Because the pavers were placed in the city's right-of-way, approval of a license agreement is required by the City Commission, and the Planning Department has informed me that they are trying to get this on the March 10th City Commission agenda. So therefore, it is my recommendation that the board continue this case until probably the April hearing. What is that date? April?
I believe so, yes. April 25th hearing.
No, code board. Do you know what the April? code
April
board-
16th.
16th?
16th.
Okay.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak on this case? For the record, there are none. Any questions from the board members?
No.
Do we have a motion?
I so move that we accept the recommendation.
A second?
Seconded.
Kathleen Brown.
Aye.
Clifford Warren.
Aye.
Al Shemansky.
Aye.
Dan Kopfer.
Aye.
Keith McWilliams.
Aye.
Ruth Harris.
Yes.
Aaron Denny's.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next case?
Next case is CCB 0810-2024, 305 Julia Street.
Afternoon. Address is 305 Julia Street, case number CCSM 0810-2024. This property is zoned MU, Mixed Use, Central Business District. Violations cited were IPMC 304 stairwells, LDR 504.02 MU zoning district regulations, Section 26-171 permits required, and Section 74-146 local business tax imposed. On January the 15th, 2026, the board found 305 NSB Investment LLC and/or entity in violation of IPMC 304, LDR 504.02, Sections 26-171, subsection A, and Section 74-146, and gave until February the 13th, 2026, to bring the property into full compliance. If the board found that the violations were not corrected by this date, a fine of $75 per day per violation, except for Section 74-146, with no fine, only a finding of noncompliance, shall be imposed for each day the violation exists. The board order was mailed, certified mail, to the property owner and was signed for and accepted on January the 23rd, 2026. The board order was also posted on the property on January 21st, 2026. On February the 13th, 2026, a check of the permit and BTR system found that no changes of status. There's been some last-minute communication in regards to this property, to include a talk with an attorney that's representing the property owner or the business, I'm not sure which, that is here today. I spoke with him today. There's also been some emails sent back and forth. This case is from 2024. This discovery was when the BTR inspection was done. It was determined that the staircase was unsafe, and that was the initial cause of concern. The back staircase, the second floor of this property, has been converted into office space for a contracting company. The fire marshal had concerns that a certificate of use had not been updated for the property. There was a certificate of use back in 2020, I believe. Let me see here. That was applied for and used. I've got copies of the emails as well as the expired permit. A permit was obtained for the stairwell and replacing the stairwell. However, it expired on December the 17th, 2025, and no action was taken in regards to it. It was only issued. There was no inspections conducted whatsoever. In the system today at approximately 2:06, 2:08, I printed that permit, and it still showed to be in expired status. There has been no permit application for the renovation to the upstairs, the second story. The certificate of use was for change of use, was for the first floor as a real estate office that is there. This is a separate business that is upstairs on the second floor. Based upon the length of time that has gone by, it's the city's recommendation that the board impose the fine that was stated as before. The recommendation is impose the fine of $75 per day per violation, except for Section 74-146, with no fine, only a finding of noncompliance, commencing back on February the 13th, 2026, and continuing until the property is brought into full compliance. Fine not to exceed the maximum amount of $25,000. The attorney has relayed to me that he is, even though he's late to dealing with this, that he is on board with facilitating and helping to keep things going, to correct things. But unfortunately, at this late stage in time, with the amount of action that's occurred and the amount of time that has gone by, the city just need to see more action than words. So I know the attorney would probably want to speak. So that's my point at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Sir?
Sir, would you like to come up to the front?
He didn't swear in.
Were you sworn in, sir?
No.
No, I mean, usually attorneys don't have to be, but I'm happy to do it just for fun.
If you could, please.
Please raise your right hand.
Right hand, that's it.
In the matter to which you're about to give testimony, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
The witness has been sworn in.
And for the record, can you,
Yes, for the record, forgive me. For the record, my name is Corey Brown with Storch Law Firm, 420 South Middle Road, Daytona Beach,
thank you.
representing the property owner, I guess 305, the property owner. So I have a couple of bits of good news. We have been able to apply for a renewal of the permit that expired today, and I have a copy of that if I'd like to submit that. Also, I know that order's a little messed up here, but I don't have another copy with me. Or, you know, I think that's a copy, right? You can keep it. And then I also, the stairs, I think the main part of this that would be taking time is the stairs. The stairs are not complete as of yesterday. I think that this hearing kind of helped to put some fire under the contractor to actually get it done. The permit was initially pulled back in May, and, you know, with the promise that it would be done shortly, but we're backlogged. My client actually talked to a couple different contractors between then and now because they weren't actually starting the construction work. Actually got at least one of those to agree, and then they backed out. So it's been a process trying to get someone to do the work. I don't think the communication, honestly, between my client and the city has been good, but it's not like they've been doing nothing. They've been trying to do this. They paid, I think, a couple $1,000s for plans for the staircase back in May or June, somewhere in there. So progress has been attempted to be made throughout this process. We finally have the staircase done, and we have the application to renew the permit to get it inspected. There are also the other issues with the business tax receipt, I guess inspecting the second story to make sure it complies with the business requirements, and then the change of use. So now that the stairs are complete and we can actually get a sign off on the permit for that, there shouldn't be any holdup now with getting the business tax receipt, having access to the second story to be able to inspect it, because my understanding was the stairs were in such a concern they didn't want to really go up there. And then also getting the change of use to go with the BTR and whatnot. So the way I look at this is, you know, yes, this is definitely taking too long to get to this point. But at this point, honestly, the only things that need to happen are for these applications to be processed and approved by the city. And I know at this point now that my client's working steady and I'm on top of them, I think an extension of, you know, at least 30 days to actually get the city to inspect it. I don't know what the lead time on it, I think it was a week or two to inspect it. I don't see how imposing a fine at this point is going to make it happen any faster. But that's my thought. I know that my client takes it seriously. I think they misunderstood some of this use permit stuff. You know, you have two stories here. One's already a business. The other one, I mean, I didn't actually realize until I looked into this that you had to get a separate use permit for another story. But apparently that's the requirement, and we're willing to do that. But at this point, I don't see how a fine is really going to speed things up. I think that they took it seriously, and honestly, I think that actually having this hearing and there being the threat of a fine helped them to make their contractor get the work done, because they were dragging their feet for, at least like 6, 7, 8, 9 months. So that's my thoughts on it. I'm available for any questions if you have them.
All right, well, thank you. Any questions from the board?
Number one, you said the staircase is completed. How long ago was it completed?
Yesterday.
Yesterday? Okay.
As far as I know, it was yesterday.
Do you know if
Yes.
anybody's been using the upstairs previously to the completion of the staircase?
I think so. Yeah, I think it's been used at least periodically.
And that staircase was deemed unsafe while they were using it. Is that correct?
Well, I think that the fire chief or whatever didn't feel comfortable going up there. But I saw the staircase. I never walked on it, so I don't know how wobbly it was, but.
Any other questions from the board? No? If not, can I have a motion?
John, can you repeat your motion, please?
Yes, yeah.
Your recommendation.
His recommendation.
His recommendation, that's right, yeah.
The recommendation is staff's recommendation, the board impose a fine of $75 per day per violation, except for 74-146, also known as the BTR, with no fine, only a finding of noncompliance, commencing on February the 13th, 2026, and continuing until the property is brought into full compliance. Fine not exceeding the maximum amount of $25,000. On that, I do want to mention that we are reasonable in the aspect of understanding that certain things can be corrected and yet certain things can still violate. In that, as soon as something is in compliance, we would immediately stop the fine. Also, in the event that there's something that holds up the determination by the city, as an example, the certificate of use review, if it were to say take 6 weeks or something like that, we wouldn't want to have that fine running for 6 weeks and imposing upon them, and then they get it. We would backdate that to the date that they applied for that, not the date that it was actually issued, because there's no sense in that. Again, the whole purpose behind the fines is to keep the pressure on to gain compliance. So let me clarify that.
Okay, thank you. At this point, do I have a motion?
I make a motion that we accept recommendation.
Okay, do we have
I'll
a-
second it.
Kathleen Brown,
Aye.
Clifford Warren,
Aye.
Al Shamansky.
Aye.
Dan Coffer,
Aye.
Keith McWilliams,
Aye.
Ruth Harris,
Yes.
Aaron Denny's.
The respondents are further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order, and to also be aware that the respondents have the right to appeal the order when it comes out within 30 days. Any violation of the same code by the respondents within 5 years from the date of this order shall be treated as a repeat violation, of which a fine up to $500 per day may be imposed. Thank you. Next case.
Next case is CCB 0480-2025, 206 Douglas Street.
I just want to check on one thing before I discuss this. The address is 206 Douglas Street, case number CCB 0480-2025. This property is zoned MU, Mixed Use Central Business District. Violation cited is IPMC 304.1, General Exterior Structure. On September the 5th, 2025, while conducting an inspection of the property regarding another code case, it was observed that there were other potential structural concerns for the property. During that inspection, I observed that the front wall of the structure was showing signs of weakening, and that the board bracing that had been placed to support the structure. This bracing was done without permit and was questionable as to if it was sufficient supporting the structure. I contacted the chief building official regarding my findings, and he contacted the owner via email on November the 20th, 2025, advising of a deadline of 12/05/2025. On January the 7th, 2026, an inspection was conducted and the property was found to be in violation of IPMC 304.1, and there was still no applications or modifications to permits that covered the supporting of the front of the structure. I also confirmed with the chief building official that there was no communication between the building department and the owners. On January the 7th, 2026, a notice of violation was posted on the property with an initial compliance date of January 30th, 2026. A copy was also mailed certified mail to the property owner and was signed for and accepted on January the 12th, 2026. On February the 12th, 2026, a follow-up inspection showed no changes to the property nor the permit system. I also verified with the chief building official that there has been no communication from the owners. I have copies of the emails. The copies of the emails are to not only me and the chief building official, but also the chief building official and the property owner. We've had some extensive history here, and I know that the property owner has struggled with this property and with correcting it. This is a separate case, but it's important to note that the property owner does realize the need for permits as well and the seriousness of the structure integrity. On their behalf, I want to mention that there was other structure issues that have been corrected and have been already cleared by permit and actually completed. So that's a good sign. Our hope is that by bringing this to the board's attention, that we can keep this on the forefront so it doesn't lack in gaining compliance because of the seriousness of it. Therefore, it's the staff's recommendation the board find Hummingbird Property, NSB LLC, and/or entity in violation of IPMC 304.1 and give until March the 6th, 2026 to bring the property into full compliance. If the owner does not come into compliance, it is staff's recommendation to impose a fine of $200 per day until the property is brought into full compliance. Fines not to exceed the maximum amount of $25,000.
Would anybody like to speak on this case? Okay. For the record, can you state your name for the record?
Yes, Kristen Pizzuti, Hummingbird NSB LLC. The property's at 206 Douglas Street, and just a little history. It's a very old building. I have 6 tenants that work in the area, and I try to keep this, just so you know, I try to keep the rent low so that they can afford to stay there. And like Mr. Parks said, we've been on ongoing fixing of this old building. We had to fire drywall the entire lower garage underneath the 2 back apartments, which has actually cost me more than I get on rent. So it's going to be done very soon. There should be a screw inspection next week. Meanwhile, the building inspector was out during that time. He noticed that my foundation was going bad. So we rushed to get that done because I thought that is very important. If water got under there or anything, that cost $18,000. It is done. That's one of the things he mentioned. It is all done. Now, the fact that that pole and that fixture on the outside was actually the building inspector's, the building guy, not Mr. Parks. The building inspector told me to put that there when he was there. So that's where that structure came from. I would have had no idea what to do. So I put that, I got the construction, our general contractor to put those up for us to hold there until we can get to that project. So the next thing will be done. That is the next thing on our list to get done. The general contractor didn't want to include it in the other things because he's afraid it would complicate everything. So that is his next project. We had quite a time finding contractors that actually came, did their job. So what we did find one out of Jacksonville of all places. Jacksonville, he came down, he looked at the building, a very good guy, and they're getting the work done. So I just asked for some patience because we're really not making any money right now. We're just putting money into the money pit kind of thing. So, I mean, we are doing what we're supposed to be doing. So that's next. We haven't ignored it. We did put the brace up that he asked me to do. Like I said, it wasn't Mr. Parks, it was the building inspector, that does the buildings, the same one that looked at the structure. So, well, that's all I can say. I just let you know that we're trying very hard to get this done.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yes.
Oh, go ahead.
Is anybody living in this structure right now?
Yes, there's six tenants, 2 in the back and 4 in the front. But it's not, what's happened is the stucco is coming off, so the building inspector asked me to just, as a safety precaution, put that stuff up there and frame it.
It's not a structural,
No, it's stucco falling off, and like I said, he said that we should do this just to be safe, which I complied with. I'm like, yes.
Go ahead.
God, that answered my question.
Ma'am, do you feel that March the 6th, right, is enough time to, comply with it based on his recommendation?
Well, honestly, I didn't see any of the emails. I'm not saying they didn't send them. For some reason, I didn't see them in my emails, and I have a business email. Not saying I didn't send them, because I'm busy trying to get everything done. Only because of all these other projects I have to do. That's why I'm asking for time, and it takes money. So I just need to have time and the chance.
I'm trying to get an idea of how much time are you thinking that would require?
Well, we're going to have, we're going to have the screw inspection for the drywall in the garage next week. Well, I'm asking for it anyway. Yeah, and I don't know how long that takes because my GC's crew is doing that right now. So we'd have to get another permit, which I can apply for. I mean, I can ask them to apply for tomorrow just for that structure, if that would help. And then as soon as his crew's done doing the other, they'll come and do that. Yes, ma'am.
Who told you to put that brace in
The
that?
building inspector, not Mr. Parks. I forgot his name. He's a really tall man with dark hair. Very nice, but that's what he
thinks, but you have people living there, and obviously he feels it's.
Well, it was a safety
dangerous.
precaution. There wasn't, there's no structure damage. It's just the stucco.
So the safety precaution is they don't want the stucco falling off onto someone.
Or
hurting
just in case because you can't see up in it, just in case there is any damage, he said, let's put that on there, and that's what we did.
what's behind the stucco?
It's a frame for the front porch.
Has anybody seen that?
Just the general contractor. He put all that up for me.
So you haven't had any engineering done?
I'm sorry?
You have not had any engineering done to determine, the extent of the damage and to actually, rate the repair?
Oh, we had the engineering done for the foundation.
Right.
They
Yeah, but
did
that's
not
a
do
structural
that. Yeah,
bearing
no,
point right
I haven't
there.
because they did not do that kind of structure.
Right.
Right.
But yeah, that is bearing. That is a structural member right there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's my concern.
It is.
Yeah.
Notice it's buckling at the bottom and it's blocking.
Yeah, the integrity is compromised, definitely. So, yeah, it does need to be braced in
But if
order
it's
to
the
determine
stucco,
the
but if it's just
repair.
the stucco, it's cosmetic then at that point.
Yeah, just the stucco is cosmetic.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, and like I said, it's not that
Right.
we're ignoring it. It's this on the list with the general contractor.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Yeah.
I understand.
It
I
would
mean, if there's
seem-
anything else I can do meanwhile,
I would
I'll ask him to do the permit tomorrow. I've been asking him to do it actually, and the general contractors don't like 5 projects at once. And I don't want to lose him because they're hard to find. Yes, sir.
Wouldn't you think that repairing that would be more important than drywalling the garage?
Well, no, because my permit only lasts a certain amount of time on the garage, so I have to get that done. I've already been through all that. So we're glad to be getting it done.
Well, you can get an extension on that, can't you?
We already did. It's an old building. It used to be a stable for horses. And so there's a lot of things that we had to fix before we could put the drywall in, electrical, all that. So that's what we did. So then now the drywall can go in safely.
Any other questions? Do we have a motion?
Before you make a motion, could I address the board?
Sure.
quick?
Yes.
Just for some clarification, I'd like to refer you to the emails I provided you. One is, and she says she hasn't received it, it's apologetic that way, but you see that the chief building official sent an email to her directly, and I think it would be best for you to review that before you make any determinations, because that is the chief building official's directions to her, and I think it might help clarify things.
Do we maybe just want to read it aloud?
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
Says, good morning. I was forwarded an email from John Parks discussing the front porch at 206 Douglas. The defect was observed and reported prior to discovery of the defect in foundation. The need to evaluate and repair the front porch is critical to the safe occupation of the building and therefore shall not be delayed to a later date following the foundation repair. While I do appreciate the action taken to remedy the defects in the building thus far, we may not prioritize one structural defect over another. All structural defects shall be remediated for continued occupancy. Please provide the office plans for bracing or reconstruction of the front porch balcony by 12/5/2025. Thank you for your time and attention in addressing the issue.
Mr. Chair, when was that email sent?
This email was sent November 20th, 2025.
Just for clarification, the name on that email at the bottom is?
Stephen Woodworth, building official.
Thank you.
That's why I said, I get so many emails on this account now, I notified them that we were trying to finish the foundation first and then get to that. All I can say is we do the best I can. I don't make $1 million off of this place, so it's hard.
Ma'am, can you speak into the microphone, please?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm sorry, I'm just doing the best I can. It's been one thing after another. I don't charge these people. They work at the restaurants here. One takes care of older people right by the river. I don't want to raise their rent because I don't think they can afford it. But anyways, we'll get it done as quick as we can. And if I need to, I will push that general contractor to permit it tomorrow. And we might have to take some of his crew away from the drywall. And hopefully I can get that done before the permit's up. That's all. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you.
And John, your recommendation was March 6th, is that what you said?
March 6th.
My recommendation is March 6th. What I would really like to see is I'd like to see a permit application and communication with the building department. And I don't know any other way of doing that other than making the recommendation that I did. I believe that allowing too much more time does compromise safety. And therefore, I have a duty to bring it to the board's attention. However, I do recognize that she has a lot on her plate, and she has been. And perhaps she didn't understand the seriousness of what this was and felt it was somehow incorporated with something else or whatever. Again, I can only I can't get in somebody's head. I can only state what I know. I do have an email from the chief building official, and I have communicated with the chief building official several times concerning this property. And he says there's no communication, and therefore that's the reason it's at the board. The board can do whatever you want. I want compliance and I want safety.
And I'm sorry, just to clarify one thing. When would, if it was found in non-compliance, would the fines be starting on March the 6th? Is that when that would be?
We don't usually state that until the second hearing. However, as the order would probably read, that they could start. They could even come back. Again, the board has that ability to dictate what they want in that aspect. That would be more of a question for the legal.
So if we were to agree to your recommendation, we could then look at the next meeting before any fines actually...
I believe that this is serious enough that it needs to be addressed, that it probably deserves an order. It's my personal belief. And the encouragement is that it should be reviewed next month at the latest.
Yeah, I agree.
Anything past that is completely up to you.
People are living there, that needs to be.
Is it possible that we can include the permit, and I'm sure she's willing to take out a permit as soon as ASAP, and we get some kind of engineer's report by the next meeting?
I can't speak for contractors. I have no idea what would be reasonable or not. I can only say that I believe that the city's position on this is that we're seeking an order to gain compliance.
Okay. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Can we get a motion?
I move that we accept the recommendation.
I second.
Yes.
Kathleen Brown,
Aye.
Clifford Warren,
Aye.
Al Shemansky,
Aye.
Dan Coffer,
Aye.
Keith McWilliams,
Aye.
Ruth Harris,
No.
Aaron Denny's.
Aye.
For the record, the motion passes. The respondents are further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify compliance with this order and to also be aware that the respondents have the right to appeal the order when it comes out within 30 days. Any violation of the same code by the respondents within 5 years from the date of this order shall be treated as a repeat violation, of which a fine up to $500 per day may be imposed. Next case, please.
The next case is CCB 0004 2026 2631 Brookline Avenue.
Poor John.
The address is 2631 Brookline Avenue, case number CCB 0004-2026. This property is zoned R2, single-family residential. Violation cited was 26-171, subsection A, permits required. This is a repeat violation.
I remember this one.
I have for you a copy of the previous order imposing a fine, therefore making it a repeat violation, and also a photo taken of the latest status of the property. On January the 6th, 2026, Code Compliance received a complaint regarding fill dirt being placed on the property without a permit. Am I getting an echo? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I was hearing it myself. Fill dirt being placed on the property without a permit and the drainage swale being filled in. A check of the permit system found no permits had been applied for and the previous permits issues remaining. There are outstanding issues with no permits obtained, expired permits that actually still have fees due. On January the 8th, 2026, an inspection was conducted where I found the dirt had been spread across the entire front yard to include filling in the required drainage swale in the right-of-way. The property was found to be in violation of 26-171, subsection A, permits required. On May the 22nd, 2025, case number CCB 0657-2024, was heard and the property owner was found in violation of section 26-171 subsection A. On January the 14th, 2026, a notice of repeat violation was posted on the property. A copy was also mailed, certified mail, to the property owner and has been returned. On January the 23rd, 2026, a follow-up inspection showed no changes to the property and no permits had been applied for. On February the 5th, 2026, another inspection of the property found that the swale had been dug out. However, this was not done by the city, and since there has been no permits applied for or issued, it is undetermined how the fill dirt and the dug-out swale will have an effect upon the property or neighboring properties regarding the impervious coverage and stormwater. It is my recommendation that the board find Terry Lee Launder Jr. and/or entity in violation of repeat violation 26-171 subsection A and impose a fine of $250 per day commencing on January the 23rd, 2026 and continuing until the property has been brought into full compliance. Fine not to exceed the maximum amount of $15,000. Note the property is listed for rent, and the previous case, CCB 065720-24, -2024, was limited to $10,000 due to the unknown status of the property being rental or not. Even though it was found to be in violation of no BTR, we went with a lower amount for the cap. However, due to the fact that you can see it is for rent, obviously it's not the owner that's living there, so therefore it is a rental property and therefore raises the limit to $15,000.
Would anybody like to speak on behalf of this case? For the record, there are none. Questions from the board?
The owner, are they, you know, if they're local or not, or are they out of state?
According to the property appraiser, it's homesteaded property.
It's what?
It's homesteaded property. So according to the property appraiser, it's the owner lives there. That's the one reason why, and before we found no fine, with just a non-compliance on the BTR rental. However, we now definitely, when I talked to, in the previous case, when I talked to the resident there, he stated he was just renting, but he seemed very evasive. Sometimes property owners will tell you untruths to try to get you to go away, not necessarily always being honest with us. So therefore, we weren't really necessarily sure if it was rental property or not. That's the reason why we went for the $10,000 as a cap on the previous, but again, and there's been no communication this time at all.
I think the for rent sign is now sort of a given.
Yeah, that's,
Who signed the certified?
no, it's been returned. It said certified, but it's been returned.
Okay, no one.
It's not accepting.
My
It was
question would-
posted, the property was posted.
My question would be, is $200 a day going to get their
I
attention?
believe I asked for $250.
Or is $250 a day going to get their attention?
Well, that's the board's decision. Normally, we go with, on an average, and nothing's written in stone, but on an average for a residential property, somewhere in the general vicinity of a lower fine of like $50 a day or something like that. Commercial properties, we go for 100 or something. We're not trying to gouge the people for money. We're trying to gain compliance, but we have to raise the fees and the fines, to get people's attention. And this is a repeat violation. Therefore, I figured it would be best to go with the lowest amount on the repeat violation, which is $250.
Right, because after each order, I do state that the fine, a repeat violation of which a fine up to $500 per day may be imposed.
You can go up to $500, yes. You have, the board has the ability to go between $250 and $500.
So my only reason to state that is they knew that there's a possibility that we could take it up to $500 a day.
Based upon your order that was served before and posted on the property, they should have.
Notice.
I can't speak for somebody's mindset. We can only do our due diligence. We post the property, we send it out, certified mail. I don't have the return on that, whether it was certified or returned or certified, accepted. I don't have that for the previous case.
Any other questions from the board?
Just, I don't know, I'm just looking at the picture. Do we know why they were filling in the lawn with dirt? Like what
Again,
reason
that
they
would be
could have?
speculation. There has been complaints. This is probably the newer house on the property. You can see in the photos, it sits a little higher than most of the other ones do. There has been complaints about some of the water issues, the impervious coverage issues, and that was part of the issues before. The case before was the concrete that had been added. There was decking added. There was a pool added. There was, I believe, a accessory structure that was added, all without permits. So again, that's the reason why the 171A is, it seems like whoever built this house did the permits, but whoever's living in this house afterwards doesn't really care about permits.
Any other
And that's
questions?
speculation.
No.
That's not a statement, that's a speculation.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
Can we get a motion, please?
I make a motion for John's recommendation,
Second?
250 for now.
Kathleen Brown,
Aye.
Clifford Warren,
Aye.
Al Szymanski.
Aye.
Dan Copper,
Aye.
Keith McWilliams,
Aye.
Ruth Harris,
Yes.
Aaron Denny's.
Aye.
Motion carries. The respondents are further ordered to contact the code inspector to verify the compliance with this order and to also be aware that the respondents have the right to appeal the order when it comes out within 30 days. Any violation of the same code by the respondents within 5 years from the date of this order shall be treated as a repeat violation, of which a fine up to $500 per day may be imposed. Any other questions from the board?
No.
All right, well, I will conclude the meeting then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dismiss?
This.